Hi there, my name is Terry Littlefield, and we are at weSPARK Cancer Support Center for some yoga, gentle yoga today. If you have a pillow or a blanket handy, a bolster, and a couple of blocks, you can always use regular pillows, whatever you have around. A pose that we're going to do at the end, I'm going to use 2 blocks and this bolster, but you might use a chair or your couch or whatever. So just know that if you don't have a bunch of props, it's okay. It'll all work out. So I'd like to start off by sharing a quote. It's from Max Ehrmann. Be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. In the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. And we'll come to lie down to start class. Just make yourself comfortable on your back. And you can see my ponytail's in the way, so I'm eliminating that. There we go. And I have a blanket as a pillow. You can use a regular pillow if you want. You can keep your knees bent or straighten your legs all the way out into the shape of a shavasana. And then let your eyes close and just begin to notice your breath. We're going to do what is called a body scan. So once you've taken a few breaths here, I'll start sort of guiding you around the body, and you'll just bring your attention and awareness to the body parts that I'm talking about. First, just take full inhale, full exhale. Another full inhale, full exhale. Let your eyes close. Allow the body to rest on whatever you're lying down on, your mat or a blanket or the floor. And without changing anything, just notice your left foot and your right foot. One might feel turned out more than the other. And just noticing. And then your left leg and your right leg. One might feel longer or heavier than the other. Just bringing awareness to the left leg and your right leg. And up to your pelvis, your left hip, your right hip, and your whole pelvis. Notice how it's resting on the mat. One side might feel lower than the other. And again, we're not changing anything, just noticing. Bring your awareness to your low back, mid back, upper back. Notice which parts are in contact with the ground and which parts are not. And then notice your belly, your abdomen, your chest, your whole torso. Notice as you inhale and exhale that the torso might change shape. And bring your awareness to your right shoulder and your left shoulder. Maybe one feels higher toward the ear or heavier. And then your right arm and your left arm. One might feel more distance from the body than the other. Maybe one feels heavier than the other. And then your right hand and your left hand Are your palms facing up or down? You might notice a natural curve of your fingers, your thumb. And then you'll go all the way up to your head, your neck. You might notice space between the back of your neck and your pillow or the floor. Your head might be resting, tilted to one side or the other, or it might be in a neutral. And then you'll notice your whole body. Visualize your whole body. And if you were lying in the sand at the beach, what imprint would your body make on the sand? See that in your mind. And we'll take 2 more breaths here. And go ahead and wiggle your toes and your fingers. You can blink your eyes open. And you'll slowly bend one knee and then the other. And then hug your knees in toward your chest. You're going to take one hand on each knee and circle the legs. It does not have to be a big circle, but you're taking the legs apart and around in a circle, and they come back together and apart. And you'll notice that this creates a movement where your low back kind of goes onto the floor and then your low back might arch. Just notice that. That will be handy in the future to notice the movement of your low back as you circle the legs. Switch direction with your circles. And I encourage you at any point during this practice or any yoga practice to stop and rest and be still if that's what is serving you the best. So always honor that. If I forget to mention it, you honor that. Good, and now we'll keep the legs together and we'll make circles with the legs together. And you'll notice it creates the pelvis a little more side to side. And you might notice your head is moving a little bit. Sometimes I'll find mine frozen in place, and you're totally allowed to move your head. And we'll switch direction. Again, noticing the movement of your pelvis, how it's going side to side. Last one. And then you'll bring your feet back down to the mat, and we're going to do what I call sacral clocks. So the 2 movements that you just felt in your pelvis, one was an arching and then the low back down, and then the other one was a side to side movement, and we felt that in the pelvis. So we're going to recreate that doing what is called sacral clocks. You will imagine that your navel is 6 o'clock and your pubic bone is 12 o'clock. And you're going to take a marble from the center of the clock to 12. So I've created an arch. And then you'll bring the marble slowly back all the way to 6 o'clock to your navel. So you imagine the marble moving from 12 to 6. It's a very subtle movement. So I'm going to get my arms out of the way and exaggerate it. If I were really exaggerating my marble movement, it would look like I was doing that, a big pelvic tilt. But it's super gentle. So you take the marble from 6 to 12, and 12 to 6. Very slow. Try to keep your tush relaxed here, your buttock muscles relaxed. They want to help out, but not for this. I love to do this one if my low back is cranky. Super slow motion. Do one more. And then you'll find a place that feels kind of neutral, like you're in the middle of either flattening the back or arching the low back. You'll find a middle place. And we're going to add on to our clock. So our hip bone, this hip bone that if you bump into the kitchen counter feels hideous, you're going to make that 3 o'clock, and the other hip bone is 9 o'clock. So we're building a clock here. 12, 3, 6, and 9. We're going to focus on the 3 and the 9 right now. Bear with me. Maybe if you're looking at a clock, that will help. We're creating the side to side movement now that we did earlier. So it's like I'm taking the marble from the center over to 3 o'clock, to this hip bone, and then back across, there goes the marble, over to 9 o'clock. Very subtle movement. If I were to exaggerate it, it would look like this, side to side. I'm trying not to let the legs do it, but I would be going side to side. It's very, very slow. And you may notice, I like 6 to 12 much better than 3 to 9. Gather information about how your pelvis moves. Notice if you're holding your breath. I was just holding my breath. So 3 to 9, obviously more challenging for me. One more time, very slowly. 3 to 9. And then we'll move it back. 9 to 3. And then you'll come to center. What feels like your center with your pelvis. And we're going to go all the way around the clock and then reverse, just one time each. So we'll take the marble down to 12 o'clock and then over to 3 o'clock, down to 6 o'clock. I'm picturing a really nice old-fashioned clock. And then over, marble going over to 9, and then down to 12, pubic bone. And then we'll come back 12 o'clock over to 9. Think about your left hip bone, 9 o'clock. 9 to 6, into the navel. 6 over to 3, and then 3 to 12. Just a couple times now we'll end with 12 to 6. Just a couple of times. Notice your breath. Be as slow as you can on this movement. I'm exaggerating it even a little bit here so that you can hopefully see what I'm doing. And then you'll just come to stillness in neutral. Let the clock go and notice your breath. Take a full inhale and a full exhale. One more time. Full inhale, full exhale. And hug your knees into your chest, and we'll take a gentle twist. So for some, you may want to bring your arms out into a T or a cactus arm, and you'll just drop your knees to one side. If this is too much, you can keep your feet on the ground and make your twist a little longer. There's more space this way. Otherwise, your knees come in and you drop them to the right. I'm going to scoot over a little in case I've gone off camera. And take a full breath here in your twist. Even though the body is twisting, fill up, inhale. Exhale, empty out. Bring yourself back to center. I like to shimmy, like a little shimmy, shimmy, cocoa puff. Get myself organized. And then bring your knees up and drop them over to the other side. Your arms can be resting here or out to the side or in a cactus. And if that was too much, you're keeping your feet on the ground and just letting your knees fall to the side. Full inhale and full exhale. And then bring yourself back to center. And we are going to do what I call the bridge 3 ways. I love bridge pose. It's super great for strong legs and buttocks. And we're going to try it 3 different ways today. So I like to take my pillow out for this. You don't have to. Uh-oh, watch out for the plant. And the first one, you'll take a block or a book or a pillow or nothing at all. If you don't have something, don't worry. You're going to take something right between the legs. So just above the knees so that you can squeeze in and already feel the action of your legs. And then I want you to have a strong buttocks, so you find a little activation of your buttocks. And then you'll inhale and lift up into bridge. Think the hip bones, remember 3 and 9 o'clock, going straight up. And then exhale, lower down. We're going to take several like this, and I want your breath to be a big part of it. Inhale, lift up. Buttocks is active. Squeeze into your block or your prop. If you don't have one, imagine your legs strong. Inhale up. And exhale down. 3 more. Stopping to rest if that's the better option. Last one, and let's hold the bridge. Buttocks is on, hips are lifting, squeezing into the prop if you have one between the legs. One more breath here. And slowly come down. You can take the prop out. Unless you loved it, you can always keep it there. It's nice to have the legs strong. The second bridge variation is pressing the arms down. Really pressing, pressing, pressing. Hands and arms so that your whole upper body feels very strong. Don't forget about the legs and the buttocks, but we'll press down. We'll inhale, lift up. And exhale, lower. We're going to take a total of 6. Press down in your feet. Press down in the arms and lift your hips. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. 3 more times. Use your breath with the movement. Last one, let's hold. Hold the bridge. Press down through your hands, your arms, even your shoulders might press down. Try to relax your jaw and maybe even take a smile here. Fake smiles count because sometimes they turn into real smiles. One more breath. Press down into the arms, lift the hips up, and lower down. The third bridge maybe is my favorite. It's a little rebellious. It's kind of not an illegal yoga bridge, but it's a little wild with the legs. So I've taken my legs wider and I've turned my feet out a little bit. So not really far out, just a little external rotation. You also have 2 other bridges now to choose from. So maybe you liked the first or second one best. You can press down or not. Squeeze the buttocks, strong legs, and lift up. Inhale up and exhale down. Inhale up and exhale down. So you may notice completely different muscles are working, or it makes you very aware of what happens in your bridge as you lift. I find this one more challenging. And we'll take 2 more. Inhale up and exhale down. Last one, inhale up and hold if you'd like. Buttocks on, hips lifting, maybe pressing your arms down. And slowly release. Keep your feet wide, but just maybe parallel the feet, but keep them wide. Let your knees fall together and knees open. Fall together and open. In case you created any tension in the back. We're focusing on the back body today a little bit. So, our posterior side. Just a couple more times. And then bring the legs together and roll to your side, and we'll come up to tabletop. If you need to cushion your knees, you can put something. I have nice cushion underneath already, so coming into a tabletop. If your wrists are cranky, you can totally add a bolster or blocks underneath to give your wrists a break. We're going to take a few cows and cats, but we're going to throw in a child's pose as well. It's modified child's pose. So the toes are curled under. And I'm going to put my ponytail back in because you will want to see things maybe besides my hair flopping in my face. So toes are curled under, and you inhale for your cow. Stretch the whole front of the body. Exhale, back body, round, round, round. Inhale again, cow pose. And on your exhale, let your hips float back. Stretch the feet and the toes. Inhale, come back up. This is your cow pose. And exhale into cat. Draw everything up, rounding and reaching with the back body. Inhale, cow. And exhale, floating back. Modified child's pose. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Child's pose, exhale. Let's do one more. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. And exhale, child's pose. I'm going to turn this child's pose into a more traditional variation. So toes together, knees wide. And I actually like to use a block under my head. I bring the earth up to me. This can be a pillow or anything that you have at home. And just take a couple of breaths in your child's pose. Imagine your whole back body expanding, like ballooning with your breath. Let your forehead rest on something. 2 more full breaths here. Balasana, child's pose. And then you'll take the block out if you have one. And we'll add a side stretch here. So reach out with your arms and then walk over to one side. Just walk over. Stretch out the whole side body. If that's too much, you can of course put your forearms down and just walk the torso over. Take a full inhale here, full exhale, and then make your way back to center and over to the other side. Think about the whole side of your waist, your rib cage, making space for breath. And then you'll come back to center. Roll yourself back in. And we'll take just a few yogi squats before we come to rest for our shavasana. So Back into the tabletop. You can take the knees a little wider than hips. Curl your toes under again and line up your heel with your knee. So if I were standing up, it would look like I was doing some fancy gym squat, but this is a yoga squat. So you're just coming back and up. You're reaching back into your squat and up. If this bothers your knees, you can barely go back, or you might be done and come onto your back and rest, because I'll be there in just a moment. Strong legs and buttocks. Just moving in and out. Dynamic yogi squat, or squat asana if we want to give it a yoga name. Let's do 2 more. Good. And then we're going to come down. And I wanted to build today one of my favorite resting poses. It's called Stonehenge. So that's where I'm using the 2 blocks and the bolster. I'm going to stack it. So, well, if you could see it, it looks like Stonehenge. So you can imagine a vacation there and see it. And then I'll have my pillow. So if you do not have this set up, then all you have to do is put your legs on a chair or on a couch, or just come into a traditional shavasana. We just have about, just a few moments left, but I really encourage you to take the time for shavasana. And this is a gentle inversion shavasana. So I don't want my legs having to work. I'm not holding them up at all. Whatever you're resting them on, really let them sink in. And then make your pillow comfortable, supporting your head and your neck. Let your arms come out by your sides, palms facing up. And this will be shavasana for today, or you're in your own traditional lying down shavasana. I'm not going to do any more talking. I'm going to say namaste right now. Thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure and an honor to do this. And you can stay for as long as you like. I would say at least 5 or 10 minutes if you have that. But I'm just going to be here, close my eyes, and enjoy some breath. And then eventually the camera will stop, and I'll see you in the next time. Take care.